The night the storm broke. The rain fell like shattered glass that night, slicing through the silence of the empty road. Amara's hands trembled on the steering wheel as lightning flashed across her tear-stained face. She wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to care anymore. Her life had been one long string of disappointments. First her mother's death, then her fiancé's betrayal, and finally, the crushing realization that the world didn't stop to comfort broken people. She had been on her way to quit her job, the one thing that still tethered her to hope, when she saw it. A black luxury car flipped on its side, smoke curling into the stormy sky. Without thinking, Amara slammed her brakes and ran toward it. Inside, trapped between twisted metal and broken glass, was a man gasping for breath. A man she would later learn was Daniel Cross, a billionaire whose name filled headlines, whose smile was plastered across magazines beside his stunning fiancée, Vanessa Blake. In that instant, it didn't matter who he was. All Amara saw was a dying soul. And without hesitation, she pulled him out of the wreckage, soaked in rain and blood, whispering through tears. "Don't die, please, don't die? Not tonight." That was the night everything changed. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and fear. Amara sat quietly in the corner, her clothes still damp, her hands trembling from adrenaline. Daniel lay unconscious in the bed before her, machines breathing life into him. The nurses had asked her a dozen questions, but she barely remembered her own name when she arrived. When the doctor told her, "He's lucky to be alive," Amara looked at Daniel's pale face and whispered, "No, maybe I was the unlucky one." Because saving him meant staying. And staying meant facing everything she had been running from. Pain, loss, and the echo of her own mistakes. For the next few days, she sat by his bedside. She told herself she was just making sure he survived. That once he woke up, she would leave quietly, unnoticed. But when he finally opened his eyes, his gaze locked on hers with confusion and quiet gratitude. "You saved me," he murmured weakly. Amara nodded, forcing a polite smile. "You would have done the same." But she didn't believe that. People like Daniel didn't stop for people like her, a young black nanny with nothing left but the ache of dreams that never came true. Still, something about the way he looked at her made her heartbeat stutter, like he saw through her exhaustion and straight into her soul. Days turned into weeks. Vanessa Blake, Daniel's fiancée, arrived only once, beautiful, distant, her perfume filling the room more than her presence did. She thanked Amara without warmth and handed her a white envelope. "For your trouble," Vanessa said. Amara hesitated, eyes lowering to the cash inside. It felt wrong, cold, transactional. But she took it, because kindness had a cost in this world. When Vanessa left, Daniel whispered, "Don't let her make you feel small. You did something extraordinary." And for the first time in months, Amara allowed herself to breathe. But deep down, she told herself it meant nothing. People didn't change. The rich stayed rich. The broken stayed broken. And she was just a shadow passing through someone else's story. Or so she thought. By the time Daniel recovered, something unspoken had formed between them, a quiet understanding. He hired Amara as his personal caretaker, insisting he needed someone he could trust. She wanted to refuse, but something about his sincerity disarmed her. And so she stayed. Every morning, she found herself in his glass-walled mansion overlooking the sea, a place too beautiful for her wounded heart. She moved through the halls like a ghost, trying not to belong. But Daniel noticed everything. The way her hands shook when she poured coffee, the sadness that hid behind her smile. One afternoon, he asked softly, "Who hurt you, Amara?" She froze. "It doesn't matter." "It does," he said. "Because the way you keep saving others tells me you've never learned to save yourself." His words hit like lightning. For the first time, someone had seen through her armor. In the weeks that followed, Daniel's kindness became her quiet medicine. They talked about life, loss, and the invisible weight people carry. He told her how he'd built his empire from nothing, how power had cost him peace, how even surrounded by luxury, he felt alone. But as their bond deepened, strange things began happening. Emails deleted, phone calls dropped, confidential documents missing. And Vanessa's visits grew more strained, her smile thinner, her eyes sharper. One evening, Amara overheard them arguing. "I know what you're hiding, Vanessa," Daniel said coldly. "The accident wasn't random, was it?" Vanessa's silence was deafening. Then came her trembling voice. You weren't supposed to die, Daniel. Just slow down the merger. Amara froze, heart pounding. The truth hit like a storm. Vanessa had been behind the crash. That night, Amara packed her things. She didn't belong in this world of deceit and wealth. But before she could leave, Daniel stopped her at the door. I know you heard, he said quietly, and I know you want to run. But you're the only one who's ever stood by me without wanting anything. Amara's eyes filled. And what if I don't know how to stay? Then I'll teach you, he said. For the first time, she didn't run. Months later, Daniel had ended things with Vanessa. The truth had come out. She'd been siphoning money from his charity foundation and plotting his downfall to protect her own secrets. The media exploded with scandal, but Daniel stayed quiet, grounded by something he had almost forgotten existed: peace. Amara, still his caretaker, had become his confidant, his friend, his quiet anchor. She'd begun to laugh again, to hope again. One morning, Daniel found her sitting on the balcony, watching the sunrise. Her hair caught the light like fire, and her eyes, once hollow, now held something beautiful. I used to think saving you was the best thing I ever did, she whispered. But maybe you were sent to save me. Daniel smiled. Maybe we saved each other. Silence fell between them, warm and healing. The world had not changed, but they had. Amara no longer saw herself as broken. She had faced the storm, carried others through it, and still found the strength to stand. And Daniel, the man who once measured worth in numbers, now saw it in compassion. They didn't need a fairy tale ending. What they had was real, born not from perfection, but from pain transformed into purpose. As the sun rose higher, Amara whispered to the wind, I am enough. And for the first time in her life, she believed it. Moral of the story. Sometimes, the souls we save are mirrors of our own. Healing doesn't come from running away from pain. It comes from facing it, forgiving it, and choosing to love again, even when the world gives you every reason not to. True strength is not in perfection, but in the courage to begin again.